Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 23. The tour through history. It is now 2000. We are almost in the present millennium. Because remember, millennium starts in 2001, not in 2000. And in this episode, we're also going to be ending something besides a millennium. This is going to be our final season with the Seattle Mariners after our glorious victory in the World Series last year. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, 2001 will be our final season with the Mariners, and we need to pick a new season. Because I'm doing 10 years, I'm probably just going to go through 2 more teams after this, so hopefully we can find some good ones. Alright. So we won the World Series, despite that this is arguably the worst, or one of the worst Mariners teams we've ever had, which is definitely a bit on the strange side. Pardon me. Let us resume. So, how did we do it? Well, Carlos Delgado was a fucking boss in Game 7 of the World Series, and was, in general, an excellent player overall. We got a lot of quality performances from Mr. Chris Ross, who was not a real player, but hit lots of homers and drew lots of walks, and that makes me very happy. We won it despite Barry Bonds having the statistical worst season of his career. And every other season, he had a minimum of 4 wins above replacement, and in this season, he didn't even manage that. Sorry, not counting 1991. So regardless, Mr. Bondarino is not the player he once was. And I still think there's room for improvement. We got a new third baseman in Jose Hernandez after realizing Abraham Nunez wasn't very good. And neither was Jose Hernandez. I think he did fine. I think he was useful. And I'm not paying him any money. All that being said, he's merely useful. He's not really exceptional. Although 22 home runs out of the 9th spot is pretty handy. We brought in Sergio Sanchez via the Rule 5 draft to be our starting center fielder, and he did okay. But really this is about John Valentin. This is about John Valentin continuing to be one of the best players in Major League Baseball year in and year out. And probably also a wonderful person and maybe even an amazing lover. I don't know. But that's my suspicion. If anything went wrong last season, it's partially Derek Bell, who unfortunately got hurt and so couldn't reach his previous highs. And it's also just in general, our offense wasn't as great as it's been traditionally. Partly because we went from having one of the best players in the majors in Barry Bonds to one of the most players in the league of Barry Bonds. We had a free agent decision to make, and I asked you wonderful folks what you thought we should go for, and I said, should we keep Mariano Rivera or Derek Bell? And most of you said neither. Most of you said to keep the money and see what actually happens in the next season. So, let me make sure that I'm not lying to you. I'm going to quickly pop onto YouTube, but I definitely remember at least 2 to 3 people suggesting that I just not do that. That I let both Bonds and what's his face go? Rivera. Yeah, a couple people said get rid of Rivera, and for $4 million, I'm not going to be able to do better than Mariano Rivera. That's the downside. But the upside is I don't need to do better. I just need to do as well. And I've got enough other interesting relievers that I feel pretty confident about my ability to replace him. I'm less happy about replacing Derek Bell, who has been a nice contributor. But on the other hand, It's not to say that he's the perfect player either. We presently have about $7 million in extensions and about $5 million for free agents. Can I find a replacement for Derek Bell for $5 million? I think the answer to that question is an emphatic yes. I'd love to get rid of Barry Bonds too. But I don't think that's going to be possible. We're going to see. We're going to see, my friends. We're going to see if we can manage it. Edgar Martinez was surprisingly good. And I don't hate having him on the team, but if I remember correctly, he wants a pretty substantial raise. Actually, just wants to come back. He wants a guaranteed role in the starting lineup. I don't know if I'm prepared to give him that. Let us go ahead, my friends, and advance some time. And just let life happen, and then make some decisions once free agency starts. A personal message. Who do we try to trade? Oh, we're trying to get John Smiley. That's right. We wanted a new starting pitcher, and Smiley is who we were targeting. But we're trying to get them to... Wait, what? Did I just see Scott Ellerton's name here? I'm not going to keep him anyway. We've already non-tendered him. If you want Scott Ellerton, you, my friends, may have Scott Ellerton. Oh, I can't trade him, can I? Can I get you to eat more salary? Nah, 60% of the salary for John Smiley is worth it. And Ellerton was a really bad pitcher last season, so I'm happy to bring in John Smiley and give us another reliable arm in the rotation. Now, what do we do next? We're losing Rivera, but we're going to have Reyes and Roberts, and one of them could surely be a useful closer. I'd love to get rid of Bonds. I really, truly would. But not about any of his salary. That's my breaking point. So we're going to see who's available in free agency and try to make a splash or two. Everybody loves contract extensions. Of course they do. I'm not going to worry too much about bad contracts. I don't want to make the team worse. Because I feel like that's kind of cheating. Who won a gold glove? We got a gold glove from newbie Rodolfo Andrade. Well done. Rivera got reliever of the year again, and I got manager of the year. Very nice. My throat is really dry today. Probably had the air conditioning run too long. Let's go into Hall of Fame voting and see who might be of interest. I'm going to keep carrying the water for Buddy Bell. You got to let him in, guys. He's amazing. Like, the idea that George Brett had 10% more of the vote than Buddy Bell, when I'm not at all convinced George Brett's even the better player, is just bizarre. Like, okay, I get it. George Brett won 4 rings. That counts for something. But Buddy Bell got 3,000 hits and played Gold Glove level defense. I don't really see what it is about him that you find lacking. I will vote for Jack Clark. I will vote for... I mean, I don't know the reason Dwight Evans doesn't make the Hall of Fame, so I guess I can vote for him. Dave Henderson, big no. Joe Hesketh, big no. Rupert Jones, big no. Rick Manning, not really. Willie McGee, I don't see it. I'll vote for Dale Murphy and Eddie Murray. Tony Phillips. For a guy who didn't play that long, that's an awful lot of war, so that's really impressive. Goodness. I'll throw him a vote. Jim Rice, not so much. Mike Schmidt, meh. Mike Sosha, double meh. Ozzie Smith, wow. A universe where Ozzie Smith only wins one gold glove. That just feels insane to me. But I'll still vote for him anyway. Chris Spire also deserves to make it. I don't, again, know why he didn't make it. And Robin Yount seems like a pretty obvious choice, too. Then again, I think most of these guys are obvious choices, and yet the game is like, nah. Ellis Valentine got 71% of the vote. He's a pretty good player, I guess. I don't have an issue with that. I don't like being the reason people are out of the Hall of Fame unless I have a very strong opinion of them for whatever reason, so I will vote for most people in that situation. Let's go up to free agency and see what we can accomplish. Okay, Ishmael Valdez, or literally anybody else. I am presently looking at $3 million in free agent money. With that $3 million, I have to fill right field. I'd love to get at least one more starting pitcher, if I'm honest with you. But I need a right fielder quite badly. We could also just play Estrada. Give him more DH reps. I think there's a lot of value in that. Maybe play Chris Ross in right field. I guess a bigger role for Andrade is reasonable, if that's the route I wish to go. Interesting. I need a utility infielder, so I need an infielder who can play several positions and play them all fairly well. We'll look at all players. As much as I'd love to get a Gary Sheffield, I don't have $10 million. I don't have it. This is a really, really shallow class. Look, all I'm looking for is a relatively okay hitter that can also play the field a little bit. I would take a Chuck Knobloch. Oh, he's a terrible defender. Add a filter. I want your defense to be at least 50, or I won't even consider you. Alright, Gary DiSarcina. I'm not spending that much money, though. That can go right the hell away. Kevin Young only plays first. Tino Martinez only plays first. Jose Vizcaíno seems like a really good fit for this team. Someone who can hit well enough and also play all the positions quite well. I think Jose Vizcaíno would be a good fit. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to offer him a 1-year contract. But I ain't going to let you start. I am not going to let you start. Alright, he clearly thinks he deserves to start. He's wrong. Luis Lopez would also be... Luis Lopez wouldn't even cost me any money, so I will happily give him a contract offer. Are there any interesting batters that I have any reasonable chance at affording? I'd love Raul Mondesi. I think he'd be a really good replacement for Derek Bell. He just costs a little bit too much money, and there's also this issue here. The fact that he's fragile. I underlined the wrong thing. I'm a potato. I don't really see anybody else here that I'm all that interested in grabbing, so let's look at pitchers now. And let's look at pitching ratings. Oh my, it is really raining out there. I'm sorry if you can hear that. Is there a decent starting pitcher available? I think Ishmael Valdez would qualify, but he's getting paid like he's an ace, and he's not. I don't want yet another high control, low stuff guy. I'd like someone who's a bit more balanced. But it seems like that just isn't available. So I might actually just be pocketing this money, or using it for a trade later on, perhaps. Because nobody here is really worth spending, if you ask me. Oh, it's literally, that might be part of the issue too. I was looking for good defensive guys, and that really wasn't necessary. Any good hard throwers? A 93-95 for Chan-Ho Park. He's not that useful in this timeline, though. I think that might be all I bother with for free agency. And I know that might seem kind of disappointing since we just won the World Series. But the fact is, between guys like Estrada and Ross and Nixon, I feel like we've got some pretty good options to fill the outfield right now. And I don't hate anybody else that we have. Like, everyone else we have ranges from solid to great. So, I wouldn't mind another reliever. If I can get a good quality reliever, I might actually spend a little bit on that. I'm not looking for a great reliever. I'm just looking for somebody who can be really, really reliable. So let's sort by overall. I mean, Arthur Rhodes as a lefty presents a lot of intriguing options. I don't know if $3 million for a non-starter is brilliant, though. I could bring in Shane Reynolds for $500 grand. As like a back of the bullpen arm, I don't hate that idea. So I think we are going to go and offer Shane Reynolds the 470 he's looking for. I think he offers us a bit more flexibility in the bullpen that we didn't really have last season. Look, if Shane Reynolds had to start a couple games for me, I wouldn't be that annoyed by it. Man, if we got Barry Bonds to bounce back on top of everything else, I think we'd be a really scary team next year. A truly terrifying team. Okay, my friends, I am not going to bother looking at the top piece of this draft because they're not going to be here. As amazing as these players are, I'm drafting probably dead last. Not quite dead last, but pretty low. So, like, would I love CC Sabathia or Josh Beckett or Albert Pujols or even, heck, Carlos Zambrano? Absolutely. They're not going to be there. It's the middle level here that is more likely to be there. Your Ryan Dreeses, your Aaron Rowans, your Craig Wilsons, your David Ecksteins. Those are the guys that are going to fall to me. And that's where I'm going to have to make my decisions. So, for now, I'm just going to go ahead and jump forward. Alright. So it's a lot of pitchers. I'm not seeing a lot of really useful hitters, which is fine. Let's quickly examine the evidence. Brian Lawrence. Lawrence has a lot going for him. He's a sinker, slider, cutter guy with a decent fastball and a decent changeup. I don't remember him at all. He had a very short career, it seems like. Oh, that explains it. A great year for San Diego, though, in 2002. Brian Lawrence is a really solid choice. There's Casey Fossum. Him I do remember. He's fine. A nice fastball to curveball mix. Plus he's a lefty. Angel Baroa, Dustin Moore, Kyle Lowe's, all kinds of former Twins here. Really? You're doing my boy Ichiro here kind of dirty. Kind of real dirty. Like, I know that real life, Ichiro wasn't an amazing all-around hitter, but he was really freaking good. Like, I know his slugging percentages are never crazy high, but his batting average was always really high. And he was also quite a good defensive outfielder. War didn't like him very much, though. That's because War likes homers a lot. I mean, I need a right fielder. We are the Seattle Mariners. But the way OOTP has him positioned, I don't think he's a good fit. I truly don't. I know he's a very solid contact hitter, and I think there's always value in that. But I think it would be much better served to grab another great starting pitcher like a Brian Lawrence. So that's what I'm going to do. Friends, if Ichiro's still around with my second round pick, I'll take him. You have my word. But he's not around anymore. He got nabbed. Ramon Vasquez is a nice type of player. I think we're going to go for him next. Because he's got a reasonably strong bat. And he plays all the positions fairly well. That's like grade A. Blaine Niels hasn't been taken. I will go for that right now. And then I'm just going to let my... Ooh, Danny Baez. I remember him all too well. He threw a lot harder than that, though, if I remember correctly. Played for Cleveland. Never quite reached his full potential, in my opinion. He had a lot of problems with injuries and just general ineffectiveness. I'm going to go ahead, and as a treat, I'm going to let you draft the rest of the draft. It's my last season. I don't particularly care about the long-term prospects of the Seattle Mariners. And I think Brian Lawrence and Ramon Vasquez offer us a couple of really solid options. And Blaine Neal helps reinforce our bullpen. I mean, you can get James Lofton and Sean Douglas. You have to take it, right? I almost said, is this the franchise? It's like, no, it's Shane Douglas. That's Shane Douglas. Some pro wrestling humor for those of you that enjoy that kind of thing. How much did Mo get, I wonder? He got a one-year deal with the New York Yankees. Oh my gosh. A little on the nose there, game. Any good Rule 5 guys you need to make sure we don't lose? Not really. I'll just auto-draft until I get to pick. Not Roberto Mejia and Danny Graves. Every freaking season, someone takes Danny Graves in the Rule 5 draft. Every season. And he never sticks. I guess it's only happened twice. It feels like it's happened more, though. Like, I don't get it. I don't know what it is you all expect to happen with Danny Graves in your system, but I don't think it's going to. Jose Jimenez offers a nice defensive outfielder, but I think he's already on my team, isn't he? Yeah, I could just add another 40 man. I'm not going to draft my own player. Todd Dunwoody. Yeah, I don't really see anybody here that really does anything for me. I think we're just going to go ahead and auto-complete it. That's fine. All right. So, we managed to acquire Shane Reynolds. I feel pretty good about that. We're going to have Brian Lawrence as a starting pitcher. We're going to have Ramon Vasquez as a backup. I feel reasonably good about what we achieved this offseason. Even though I know we didn't get really super involved in free agency, I think we're a better team now. I wonder if Derek Bell signed with anybody yet. How is my man Derek Bell doing? Really? Like, I know that his contract demands are frankly completely insane, but... Oh yeah, he's getting bid the fuck up. Good for him. Like, 100%, I don't mind at all. I don't begrudge him anything. He deserves to get paid. But I do genuinely think he's going to have a difficult time. Jose Vizcaíno would like another chance. No, thank you. Like, I just don't see any point in bringing in yet another infielder when I've got several that are fairly decent. Carlos Delgado got a little better. Rodolfo Andrade is a touch worse. How much money did Derek Bell earn? My guy got $8 million a year. And you know what? He's probably worth it. But when you go into the Hall of Fame, don't forget, like... Oh, I didn't look at the Hall of Fame voting results. Really? Hey, Buddy Bell's at 70% now. He's starting to build some momentum, so I feel better about that. But I think there's a lot of genuinely good choices, and they're just not getting selected for whatever reason. Like, Jack Clark and Eddie Murray definitely deserved it. I don't begrudge either of them election. I think they both deserve it, but just how weird you're getting about what is or isn't Hall of Fame is just so silly to me. Then again, this is our Hall of Fame. We might have wrecked it. I'm not sure. Alright. So you're going to give me Steve Cook. Fun fact, I don't want Steve Cook. So, thanks but no thanks. Blaine Neal, Brian Lawrence, Ramon Vasquez, Luis Lopez. All of you are going to get some opportunities here. We're going to run a 5-man rotation, obviously. And this is the rotation I want to run. So cool. Didn't Grant Roberts pitch for the Expos? Wasn't that his thing? He pitched for the Mets. I don't remember him at all. Then again, I was an American League fan, so maybe I can be somewhat forgiven for that. I don't hate the idea of Estrada being the leadoff guy at all. I'd prefer Bonds, I think, but we'll see what happens as spring training progresses. Alright, amigos. Let us advance to April. I'd feel a lot better if we had one more premium starter, or even a premium starter. Let's see who might be left in free agency, but it's probably nobody exceptional. Wow, Raul Mondesi, no one has taken him off the market. If I could get him for like $1 million, I'd probably do it. Oh, he's in a bidding war. Wow, Cal Ripken Jr. in this timeline was excellent for a very long time, but he's clearly on the back half of his career. No thank you, I think. Are there any decent pitchers left? There's Omar Dahl. I think decent is a little much in his case, though. Wow. Look how Randy Johnson has fallen. It's because he can't throw hard anymore. That's a bummer. Like, he still might be a Hall of Famer just because of how amazing his peak has been. But he collapsed quickly. Damn. Imagine a universe in which you can have Randy Johnson for $0 and your impulse is just no thank you. Wild. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a good starter here. Because right now Justin Thompson is our 5th starter. And he's clearly the worst starter that we've got. But with Lawrence and Tolberg and Smiley and Lowe... I mean, we didn't have a great rotation last season either, and we still won the World Series. Scott Brosius, huh? I don't necessarily disagree with getting Scott Brosius. I think there is some value here, but I can't give you Justin Thompson while getting a starting pitcher in return, so I think I will decline. I'm sorry if you're a Mariners fan and you're sad that I didn't acquire Ichiro, but I had to get the best player in OOTP terms, not the best player in real life. One of the things I really don't like about the memory of Ichiro, by the way, is everyone is like, he could have hit home runs if he wanted to. And at the time I accepted it without question, because the man clearly had amazing bat control. But here's the thing. He didn't hit home runs. And so the question is, why wouldn't he hit home runs if he could have just, like, flipped a switch? I think that was vastly overstating his talent. I still think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because I think, quite rightly, people are going to look at his contributions in Japan as well as his contributions in the majors and decide the complete package is 100% a Hall of Famer. And I have no problem with that. I think if I had a Hall of Fame ballot, I'm voting for Ichiro. But I think there's this kind of legend that built up around him that made him seem like he's one of the greatest in Major League history. And he was really, really good. But, like, if you're thinking best right fielders of all time, does he even crack the top 10? I'm not sure. I'm terrible remembering who played at which corner outfield spot. Like, I don't remember whether... Like, Roberto Clemente definitely played in right field. I remember that, even though he died before I was born. But, like, was Manny Ramirez, I would definitely put way above Ichiro. I know Barry Bonds is mostly left field, but, again, obviously. Babe Ruth. Yeah, there's plenty of other players that I think were better than Ichiro. So this idea that you could just magically start hitting home runs anytime you wanted to is just nonsense. Which doesn't make him not a Hall of Famer, though. That's the big takeaways. I definitely think he's clearly a Hall of Famer. My friends, we presently have 18 pitchers. We don't need 18 pitchers, guys. We do need Brian Lawrence quite badly. I'm going to send Orojo to the minors. I'm going to send Gomes to orbit, which is where he belongs. Mark Redmond is just done. Blaine Neal definitely makes the roster. I want Stu Traxel because he is a reasonably effective starting pitcher, so if something goes wrong, I want him already ready to go. I think Rick Ankiel just doesn't offer enough. Well, I mean, he offers something in terms of being an offensive player too, but I don't think it's enough. I'm going to send him to the minors. I need to get rid of at least 2 more pitchers, so I'm going to send down Ramiro Mendoza. And probably Billy Koch. Like, I know he was really important in the postseason for us, but I think he just doesn't measure up to the newer pitchers that we have. So we have 12 pitchers now, which is the perfect amount. Like, you're going to be emergency starter, long relief. Other than this, I like everything else about this. And we're going to go ahead and set Denise Reyes to just that. Felix Heredia, I want to be my lefty killer. And then the rest of you are fine. Okay. That's a good rotation. It's not a great rotation. It relies a lot on Derek Lowe to be the big man, but I do think he can manage that. So it leaves us with 3 excess position players. I don't need 3 catchers. Raul Perez is clearly the better offensive catcher. Mark Johnson, clearly the better defensive catcher. Mark Johnson was awful. So I'm going to give Raul Perez a chance to show if he can play any better. Alright. I don't want Jeff Abbott. I need you to not be here anymore. I want Vasquez over just about any other backup infielder. The question is, do I want 2? Do I want Lopez and Vasquez and get rid of an outfielder? I mean, I have 6 outfielders now. 6 seems excessive. Dominant would probably be Trot Nixon. Or no, it's going to be Juan Villa. I like Nixon a little bit better. I think Nixon's a bit more established. Yeah, we're going to go with this. I like having the 2 people there. I'm going to nuke it all. And we're going to start setting up the team the way I would like it set up. Alright. Batting ratings. I want the best overall hitter batting either second or third, and that's going to be John Valentin. I think Valentin bats third now. We don't have a ton of contact on the roster anymore. That's definitely going to be a concern for us this season. So I think having Valentin batting no lower than third is critical. So John Valentin is our number 3 hitter. Just as easily, our biggest power threat is our cleanup guy, and even easier than that is Chris Ross batting 5th. Okay. Armando Estrada is clearly our best choice as a DH. So we're gonna let him loose as a hitter that is designated. And this leaves Barry Bonds theoretically hitting fairly high in the lineup. I don't love that idea, but the man does get on base. So actually I think I'm going to make Bonds lead off and let Estrada hit second. I think Estrada's overall better offensive game at this point in his career makes him much more valuable hitting second. So this is our top 5. Our next best hitter is Sergio Sanchez, so we're going to let him bat 6th. Then the man who always outperforms his actual talent, Mike Matheny. And then Jose Hernandez and Rodolfo Andrade. This is not a deep lineup by any stretch of the imagination. We are a weaker offensive team without Derek Bell. Unless Armando Estrada can pick up the slack. And we can get something better out of Barry Bonds. I don't need Barry Bonds at 50 homers anymore. What I need him to do is I need him to get on base. I need him to hit for enough of an average that he's a threat to advance runners when we're out of the first inning. So my very best backup position player is going to be Trot Nixon. And Mr. Nixon is going to back up at both corners. Game. Is going to back up. Oh my god, you really want Trot Nixon to start, don't you? I think because Bonds' name is so short, it's hard to see where it actually belongs. Okay, so Bonds backs up in the corners. And he's going to have to back up at center field. I actually don't have another center fielder, which is maybe a mistake. Raul Perez backs up at catcher. Ramon Vasquez is going to back up at all three positions here. Do I carry an 11th pitcher or drop a pitcher so I can add another position player? I might have to. Like, I don't really have a thumper off the bench, and I'd really like to have one. Someone who just hits the crap out of baseballs when I desperately need them hit. And I think Ramon Vasquez is decently speedy. No, he actually isn't. All my fast guys are in the everyday lineup. Okay. Yeah, I need a first base / DH / type of that kind. I mean, we could bring back former Mariner Mark Lewis. Man, I'd love to get somebody who can play center, but who can also hit well enough that I'm not hurting myself offensively. Bernard Gilkey wants to get paid, and I don't blame him. You can't play. Tom Goodwin can play center. He's a decent hitter. And I could probably let him play at first base or DH as a backup. I think Tom Goodwin would be an excellent addition to this team. Excuse me. I think that works fairly well. Let's advance time a little bit to see if we do manage to get Tom Goodwin. Okay, we did get Tom Goodwin. Excellent. That makes me feel a lot better about my situation. I'm going to put him on the major... I can't put him on the major roster. I got to send somebody down. But it's going to be a pitcher. And it's going to be... Whom? I mean, of anybody, it's probably Luis Gonzalez. Like, I don't see a ton of value to him right now. So I'm going to send down Gonzalez so I can have Tom Goodwin instead. This still gives me 6 guys in the pen. And they all fulfill good roles. And I do think I feel better about the team with Mr. Tom Goodwin as our backup center fielder. And as someone who can do a little bit of hitting if we need to. I also think Tom Goodwin's fairly fast, isn't he? He's reasonably fast. We can do one of these and make him a pinch runner too. Alright, I'm now going to go ahead and copy. And we're going to do paste and paste. And then we're going to do this. And we're going to do this. Oh yeah, you need the depth chart too, don't you? There we go. Oh, they're showing Metheny is benched because of the suspension. Yeah, I get it. Oh, let's go and play some baseball games and see what happens here. There's a lot of variance in the possible end to this particular season. There could be a run streak. That's fun. Okay, losing John Valentin really sucks. We rely on him a lot to be a major contributor, so this is going to be deeply unpleasant. Recovering from losing Valentin for any length of time. Now, the slightly good news is I can just bring in... How good is Carlos Sanchez? Can he be... Sanchez is a reasonably competent backup, so I'm going to call him up. And we're going to let Ramon Vasquez be our starting second baseman. I don't like him hitting third. Like, I don't think Vasquez is that good, but he's the best option I've got. So he's playing second base every day now. I definitely didn't want that, though. I don't hate Ramon Vasquez, but compared to John Valentin, it's not even close. It's not even a little bit close. Go ahead and do this, please. Really, you're going to start Lopez? I really don't care, though. And then Lopez gets to be the principal backup. And then Carlos Sanchez takes over for Vasquez. There. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that our entire season is screwed now because John Valentin's going to miss 6 weeks. But I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about it at all. Really? The Yankees had to get Roy fucking Halladay. Okay. I see how it is. I see how it is. I guess I'd rather lose Valentin now than lose him later in the season. I'd rather not lose him at all, though, thanks. If you could do me that kindness. Stuff is happening. Mostly good stuff. Bonds continues to decay. Thankfully, I'm stuck with Bonds IRL for one more season, so I will just accept that. And I'm not even going to pay attention to our statistical record yet because it's not enough at bats to really make any meaningful distinctions here. You would give me Miguel Contreras and David Risky. That's a risky move. Get it? No, this just makes me worse. There's really no benefit. Jose Hernandez wants a contract extension. I don't care what you want, though. Is the thing. Because I'm not going to be here next season. I'm going to be on a new team. A different team. The kind of team that will play baseball well. Eventually. Maybe. Black Gold Kennedy sounds like the most amazing prospector's nickname in history. Like, what do they call you? They call me Black Gold Kennedy. But it is, in fact, Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy. I know that name. I remember him. Did he pitcher the A's? He did pitcher the A's. I honestly don't know how I remember some of these players because they were not players I particularly cared about, but here we are. Alright, so let's talk about what's going wrong. Everything with the offense. Literally none of our offensive performers are playing at the level we expect from them. Like, across the board. Barry Bonds is having a better season. There's no disputing that. He's playing better than he did last year. Estrada has been really, really good, but he's not hitting for much power, which is problematic. Ramon Vasquez is clearly in over his head, which was not my intention, but I mean, until Valentin is healthy, I can't replace him. Like, the only player that's hitting really well relative to what I expected is Jose Hernandez. which is great. I'm not complaining, but it does make me concerned. Also, Chris Ross is having an amazing season so far. He's playing really, really well. All right. The good news is we're getting John Valentin back soon, and that's just going to make us a better team from top to bottom. Also, I ignored my pitching staff. They've been really good this season. Like, yeah, Smiley and Tolberg are struggling a bit, but the bullpen is holding it together nicely. And we're getting a lot of good performances from a lot of good starting pitchers. And we're playing really well defensively, too. So I am pleased to see that continue, but we desperately need the heart and soul of the Seattle Mariners back. We need John Valentin. He just makes us a better team. I don't see how there's any debating that John Valentin is not vastly superior to Ramon Vasquez in every conceivable way. I'm not saying that I want John Valentin to be my best friend, but it'd be kind of cool if he were. I don't remember why he never got much love IRL, but I remember him being like very respected, one of those kind of situations, but he was never considered ever one of the best in the game, I don't think. A really tremendous second baseman, though. He was always a good second baseman. I mean, part of the problem might be that he spent so much of his career for the Chicago White Sox, which, despite being in one of the biggest media markets in the country, have never gotten the press that the Cubs do. Which I've always found a bit strange, but I don't necessarily hate it. Like, it does make some sense, right? But yeah. He also is much better in our time. Oh, John Valentin played for the fucking Red Sox. Because I think he was, at one point, Noma's partner. Jose Valentin is the one who played for the White Sox. So, yeah, that shows you how much I think of. Our John Valentin is also much better than the John Valentin in real life, though. Like, there's no question about that. The real John Valentin retired with just over 20 WAR. We're already at more than double that. And we haven't played the whole career yet. So. Tom Goodwin and Luis Lopez. I need both of you to shut the fuck up. That is what I need from you. And if you do not silence yourselves, I will silence you. So just be aware of that threat right there. I don't care about the coaches. They can do whatever they want. Got some tasty player development. John Smiley is all of a sudden much worse. Barry Bonds is worse. Dave Moda's like marginally better, which is neat, I guess, but not really the point. Alright, so what are we looking at? We are a game out of first, which is good news. But none of our hitters, for the most part, are really hitting at the levels we expect them to hit. And that's a big problem. Is Barry Bonds drawing walks at a ridiculous rate? He is. He is getting on base. Fine. But we are a bad offensive team at this point. I say at this point because there's too much raw offensive talent here for them to be this bad this long. Estrada, the sky's the limit for him. It truly is. All he's got to do is get his shit together, and he's going to be one of the best in the bigs. No doubt in my mind. I think we just need the players we do have to just start playing better. I don't know that adding anyone is necessarily going to make a difference. I wouldn't mind replacing Justin Thompson. He is kind of the weak link, but he's pitching well enough. Let's see what might be available if one were to make a baseball trade. Literally no one interesting is on the trade block, which is sadly what I expected. Like, I could add a closer for sure, but the bullpen is fine. Like, the bullpen is completely fine. Yes, Felix Heredia is not amazing, but he doesn't have to be. So, we just need the hitters that we have now to start hitting better. That's what has to happen. It's not new players, it's the players we have now playing better. So what I could do is I could fire the hitting coach. I could fire Mike Jorgensen the year after winning the World Series and blame it all on him. I don't think that's smart. I think we just need to keep playing and see if we can turn it around in the second half. Because I genuinely don't think a personnel change is going to make us a better team because the players we want aren't available. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to sum up to the All-Star break. And then, my friends... Oh, boy, Jason Greeley, anyway. Like, not even going to dignify that with a response. I shall return in just a moment, my friends. I am back, my friends. Thank you for your patience. Let us see who made the All-Star team. So, from Seattle, we have Denise Reyes. Good job. Good. That might be it. Yeah, we literally only had one player make the All-Star team, which was Denise Reyes. Yikes. Like, Reyes is having a great season. I don't begrudge them for picking him, but holy free holies. That's not a sign that we're having an amazing season, is it? I cannot notice that Mario Rivera's name isn't there either, so I feel slightly better about that. And nobody here, and the prospect roster, which makes sense. I don't have very many good prospects. Alright. So I've got a decision to make. If we wish to make a trade, we have to make it now. Because if we don't trade, then if we don't trade now, then any players we get won't be with us in the postseason. Should we make the postseason? I mean, Chris Ross or Brian Tolberg maybe could have made the All-Star team, but it makes sense that they didn't. Friends, I think we just need to keep going. I don't think there's another way out but through. And I genuinely think that if the team can heat up post All-Star break, I think we've got a real chance to do a lot of damage. So we're just going to keep going. That's all we can do right now. I don't think trading for anybody will make a difference that I can see. So we're gonna advance to August and see where that leaves us. Nah, I don't need an ineffective dude like that. I don't want Bobby Thigpen. Stop making stupid trade offers. Oh my gosh. Jose Offerman is thoroughly unremarkable. Like, there's no actual benefit here. Being freaking weird, game. Like, Cameron Cruz is a really good defender, and I'm not trading much. But no, I think we just keep going and just accept the fact that I don't think we're making the playoffs this season. Oh my god, stop offering trades, game. Luis Lopez, I don't give two fucks what you want, okay? I'll tell you what I want. I want you to stop complaining. That's what I want. So stop complaining and we'll be good friends. Yeah, it's like the Marlins just desperately trying to get me to take one of their mediocre trade deals, and I just don't see the benefit. Now, granted, I know something about me that they don't, which is that I'm leaving the team. And that's definitely a true statement, that I'm leaving the Mariners no matter what happens this season, and they don't know that. So they're going to keep offering me these deals that they think are going to help me on the margins, but the fact is that they aren't. The fact is that they are not. Let's just check things out. Are we doing any better? We are doing a little better. Delgado's hitting a little better. Barry Bonds is basically worthless at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to very, very quickly bump Estrada here and Sanchez here. I don't care to do the rest of it, but my thinking here is that the flagging power Bond still has will be a little more valuable lower in the lineup. I probably should have traded Barry Bonds, in all honesty. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But I didn't, so here we are. I think we're screwed. I don't think we have a snowball's chance in hell at winning the World Series this season. We're not even at 500. I mean, we're a top-heavy team, and the top isn't performing the way it should be. That's the problem. That's the problem. We're a team that relies on elite performances from a few players, and we're not getting them. We just aren't. And yes, the season isn't over with yet, but we're not going to make up 13 games in 30 days. It's not happening. I don't care that Rodolfo Andrade is hurt. I'm completely checked out at this point. We're not going to defend a World Series title because we're not even going to get to 500. I might actually get fired. We'll see what happens, but I don't think they're going to be happy about that. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're grumpy, Barry Bonds, so try fucking hitting better, and then I'll play you anywhere you want to play. Yeah, I mean, we had no chance. We had absolutely no chance to... The moment the first half of the season, none of my offensive performers performed, we were doomed. We were completely and utterly doomed. And it took me way too long to kick Bonds out of the top spot. Did anything go right this season? Let's have a peek. Basically, no. So Sergio Sanchez was really good this season. He got on base, he hit for average, hit doubles, stole bases. He was really, really good as a player. Chris Ross was just essential to the team functioning even as well as it did. John Valentin really struggled. And if you look at his scouting, you'll notice he's dropped off a lot. The end may be near for Mr. Valentin, and that's not good news for the Seattle Mariners, who rely on him to be a big-time presence, to be the heart and soul of the team. Armando Estrada did very well, although I am deeply concerned about his lack of overall power. If he's going to be a true great player, he's going to have to provide, say, 450 to 500 slugging percentage to really be that kind of player. Jose Hernandez did great. He played quite well. We had a bunch of useful players, and then we had some utter garbage. Rodolfo Andrade was literally terrible. For a guy who I know isn't an offensive mastermind to only provide 30 to be 65% worse than the average major leaguer is obviously disgusting. Carlos Delgado, I don't know what happened to him since he's come to Seattle, but he has gone from being one of the most reliable offensive performers in the league to just being bad. Like 19 homers from Carlos Delgado is a fucking travesty. It truly is. He has hit no fewer than 27 homers any other season in his career. This season he hits 19. Mike Matheny finally played his actual talent level, which I guess I shouldn't be too surprised about. But just, we're a team of stars and scrubs at this point, and none of the stars picked up the slack. None of them did. Barry Bonds was, to be perfectly frank, awful. Barry Bonds should not have been playing anymore, and if I could get rid of him, I would, but I wasn't going to be able to. So, we take an improbable World Series run and turn it into one of the worst teams in the league, but that's what happens sometimes. The pitching was fine. We didn't get a great performance out of anybody other than Grant Roberts. We didn't get any bad performances either, though. Except for Felix Hernandez, or Felix Heredia, which is whatever. He's not there to have amazing skill. We had a great bullpen and a pretty reliable pitching staff. And it just didn't matter. Because we weren't able to hit at all with any regularity. And that ultimately costs us the World Series. It cost us the playoffs. I mean, we weren't even close to making the playoffs. Instead of getting better after the All-Star break, we got worse. A lot worse. And that's really unfortunate. Normally I would play up to the award season, but we're not going to win any awards. We're just not. Except for being the worst. So I'm just going to go ahead and quit my job. Okay. So who are, at this point, the worst teams in the league who have never won a championship? It's either Tampa or the Diamondbacks. Or the Rockies. I've done the Expos, haven't I? I've definitely done the Royals, but have I done the Expos? I have not. Okay, so I'm thinking there are really three choices here. But really two. I don't want to play in the AL East. I don't want to play with Tampa. So my three choices are going to be Arizona, Colorado, and Montreal. Let's see if any of those teams wants to hire me. Arizona doesn't want to hire me. Colorado does. And Montreal doesn't. So if those are my three choices, Colorado is going to be the choice. They're the team that wants to hire me more than the other two. Where are the Rockies going to be drafting? 8th overall. That's not ideal, but it could be worse, I guess. I wonder where the Diamondbacks don't want me. That's kind of weird. But I will take the Rockies. And that'll be our next franchise. Friends, I will make decisions about this team next season, but this is where we're at right now. Let's quickly review how we're doing and see what kind of young talent we might actually have. Okay. Our pitching staff is both bloated and bad. We're in Colorado. We're not going to have a great pitching staff. We just have to accept that day one. Offensively, we have Andrew Jones. That counts for a lot. Okay, so Andrew Jones and Derek Lee. We just got Raul Mondesi. So we have a pretty solid beginning to an offense. And then from there, we just need some... Of course, they're going to end up with Juan Pierre. I don't think there's any years in which they can't end up with Juan Pierre. But this is a really solid core of Andrew Jones and Derek Lee and Raul Mondesi. And I guess Carlos Guillen is pretty solid too. I certainly don't hate him. So we have some genuinely talented players. Do we have money? We have a lot of money. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. How much money do you want? You're gonna want too much money, aren't you? Wait, why can't I offer you a new contract, Andrew? What? I can't offer him a new contract? Why the hell not? Oh, because he's already been offered a contract. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright. I wouldn't mind bringing back a guy like a James Baldwin. If he can pitch well in Colorado, that's pretty solid. And he can't want very much money, right? Yeah, that's a little bit too much. Okay. We'll make sense of all this next episode, but we'll be playing as the Colorado Rockies beginning next episode. Friends, I hope you're enjoying the series thus far. If you have, please remember to like the video, comment down below, share your thoughts about how we'll do with the Rockies. And until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.